Hey guys, I just wanted to, hopefully this will be a short video, do a quick run on some gel pens. I think gel pens are kind of a bane for watercolor folks. It's hard to find some that aren't clogging and still flow and just, yeah. So I have a few that I want to show you and try, but I just want to go on the record right now. My M-Gram palette did get set up. So for those of you who sympathized with my procrastination commitment faux video on palettes, it is done. I have played with it a little bit, and yeah, so I've got two different kinds of gel pens here. These, I think it's a Buutiiger gel pens. I saw recommended elsewhere and wanted to try them. I always have a big issue with the jelly rolls. They just never last. They get clogged. The ink doesn't flow very well. I'm not a huge fan of the jelly rolls. And I'll be honest, the Singo, a little better, but not great. The white gel pens are always kind of a conundrum for me, I guess. So this comes in a pack of, I think there's 9. So there's 3 of each of these. There's a 0.6, a 0.8, and a 1.0. So they are so far not bad, but we're going to play with them over an old swatch sheet to see how they go over the top of watercolor. And then I also grabbed this Grabie set of the iridescent glitter pens. So far I like these. I've played with them a little bit. I also thought these would be fun for folks who do journaling and who do a lot of work over top their watercolor. So I wanted to try those out and talk about those a little bit. So actually, let me grab, while I'm thinking about it, if I can find it, a black pad of paper. I have one somewhere. Now, where it's wandered off to, I'm not entirely sure. There it is. But we're going to try these white pens on this too. Okay, so there we go. So I'm going to grab these out of the way. It's just a small pad I found on Amazon. The Stonehenge paper is not my favorite, as most of you know. I've been pretty vocal about it. I thought I had a scrap of this somewhere, but I guess I don't. But, so, this is I'm going to write down here. This is the 1.0. It's kind of, it's not quite as opaque as I thought it would be over top that. And then this is the 0.8. These are actually, this is interesting because these have this kind of triangular shape on them that the Grabies do. So I'm kind of curious as to if these are kind of produced in the same spot. So this is white gel and this is the 0.6. I tend to lean towards a finer tip. That's just me. Okay. And then I guess while we've got this out, we can try some of these Grabies on the black too. I wasn't planning on doing that, but I thought of it as I was getting started. So here we are. So this is an 18 set. This is the colors that they represent. They're not, I guess it's not like a huge range, and some of these colors are a little misleading. They are also not marked, not by number or name, so I kind of had to go through and line them up, and you'll see I ended up putting a label over the top or on them so I could tell. And they do come with these really cute coloring sheets that you can try them out with. I haven't done too much on these. I think this is the only sheet I've colored actually. So the only thing I will say is you definitely have to be careful because you will, hopefully you can see that, you can definitely kind of wipe off the glittery portion on these. I don't know like how far that'll go, but it's definitely there. And you can see it does smudge. So just something to be aware of, not necessarily like a, oh crap, this is horrible thing. And then I also used it on the back of this Joanna Basford coloring book. Sometimes the covers are kind of hard to get stuff to stick. You can see I did it here. It did take a lot longer to dry, and you can see it did smudge a little bit, but it does work over the top of them. So just stuff to know. I don't know that I'm going to do all these on this black paper. So I rearranged them in mine. Again, these are kind of a rectangular barrel. There is a little stop in here for your tip. It is a needle point tip. And I suspect these are going to show a little different on black paper versus white paper. Just a sneaking suspicion. So, oh yeah. And they are a little misleading because clearly this one looks a lot more purple in the tube, but you can see it shows up very blue on this black paper. So one of my only complaints with these is that because of the rectangle shape, they kind of, it's, I don't know if hard's the right word, but sometimes it's more difficult to get it to line up. And when you close them, for that to be seated inside that little stopper, I actually knocked one sideways. And I don't know if that little stopper is going to make a difference on stuff getting clogged. But that was something that I was kind of like, on. The triangle shape does kind of make it nice to hold, I guess. But yeah, it's definitely something to be aware of. This is the fuchsia. I already spelled that wrong, but oh well. I'll try to do it right here. See, I don't know if I spelled that right. All right, so fuchsia and fuchsia. This is all watercolor paper. They do write pretty smooth, so I am happy about that. I'll be honest. A little smoother than I anticipated, but you can see like I didn't quite get this one in here and it's sitting outside the tip. And this is what I'm talking about. You just have to be, I guess, a little more careful when you close them. I'm really kind of surprised that orchid shows up so blue on this black paper. I didn't expect that at all. But so far, these are not great for black paper, I will say. Let's see. I don't like having to think about putting my caps on as much as I do. So I know that this one is probably the most red, but it definitely has a lot of gold, I guess, glitter in it. And I found that some of these colors are like that, where the base is clearly one color, but the glitter in it's different. And so it'll show up a little different. There is no true gold in this set. There's a couple I guess you could use as gold. There is a silver. I thought it was a little weird that they included a silver, but not a real, what I would consider a real gold, I guess. The yellow and this orange here are probably the closest you're going to get. And I don't quite consider them gold. I said I wasn't going to swatch all these, but I guess I am. And this is the yellow. This is probably the one, if I was going to pick one to be gold, it would be this one. I'll be honest, I'm not 100% sure that these don't do great on black paper or if it's just the Stonehenge paper, and I don't have any other to test it on. So just, I guess, consider that if you're going to use these and you want to use them on black paper. Whoop. Now I'm knocking everything around. I guess I need to double check I'm in. Okay, still in frame there. And this is, I'm not going to write that whole thing out. This is the chartreuse color. Got a dog who wants to play again. I don't know what it is about being on the phone or trying to record that my dogs are always like, oh, hey, this is a perfect time to play. But it happens every single time. Yes, I see you, baby. And what are we playing with today? The giant eggplant, which is a favorite. There you go. Go take your eggplant. That is probably the most favorite toy in the house. This is green. Alrighty. I hate trying to get these lids to line up. I don't know. Maybe I'm just really bad at that. I don't know. I find them a little frustrating. And some of these I did notice change color a little bit as they dry. The one most notably is the one I think that's called Wine. It goes on really dark, but then it ends up being kind of, I guess, sort of a deeper maroony, red, magenta-y color. I know that was very specific on color there, wasn't it? I don't quite know what to call it. You guys can decide. So this is a nice, pretty blue. Can't even quite see where I put my word there. And this comes off very purple on the black paper. So I will say, as I've played with these, I've been pretty impressed with how smoothly they write. Like I said, I kind of have a love-hate relationship with gel pens, and these have definitely been a lot better than I anticipated. I also like the fact that they're kind of like this needle tip. That plays nice with me because then it means that I can go through where I have tight spots or I really want to put in a detail or whatever, that I can do that. It's harder to do it to me with those fatter tips, but when I write, I prefer a fine tip pen too. So, all right, so that navy color shows very green on the black paper. This is blue. Oh, this is mostly showing up as the gold. I feel like on the black paper, what you get to show up is mostly whatever the glitter color is. So, and I think that's very apparent on these blue colors, where the blue shows up with gold, the navy shows up with the green that's in it, and then the cerulean has that kind of purple color. And this emerald shows up more, I don't know, I guess aqua color. So that's kind of interesting. I didn't anticipate that. Clearly I don't do a lot on black paper. I don't know. Sometimes it seems like it would be fun, and then I go to play with it, and it's just not really my thing. So I'm gonna do this purple, I believe, is going to come off a little more blue on that black paper. But again, it seems to have to do with the color that's in the glitter. All right. Just a couple more to go. All right. This is mauve or mauve. I don't know. I was always taught mauve, but I have seen a lot of people call it mauve, which actually kind of grates. Maybe it's like the caramel debate. I don't know. They definitely, I mean, you can see they go down pretty smooth on this white paper, and not nearly as smooth on the black paper. The black paper has a little more texture to it, I think. And then this is the wine color that I was talking about. That I don't know why my printer just went off, but it did. That it looks really dark when you first put it down, but as it dries, it does lighten. And I feel like then the glitter shows through a little better. This one. There we go. And then the last one we have is just silver. And so, silver's going to show up on the black paper. And there we go. Okay, so those are your colors and the Grabies. I mean, it's a decent selection of colors. These are not something you're going to blend with, though. I'm not going to blend with them. And as you can see, they do not show up the same on your black paper. So I don't know if I can get the light to catch them all. But they are pretty glittery overall. He said they actually went on sale. I'd kind of eyed them a little bit, and they went on sale. And I decided to go ahead and grab them because I'm kind of getting back into doing coloring books and stuff just for the times where I don't necessarily want to drag out paints. And so I wanted to be able to do some touches of glitter or metallic on them. And that's kind of why I ended up grabbing them. But I can see them being useful for other things too. I just wanted to get that orchid down a little better so you could see the purple in it. And then, like, they all do technically show up on the black, but definitely wouldn't be using them much, and the colors are not the same between the two. So that said, I'm just going to turn this over. You guys have seen this swatch sheet before. This is one I did for Beam. So I just want to come in here and do some of this over the top because I have found that that's usually where a lot of mine fail. So the silver over the top of that. Blueberry Mountain's pretty good. Let's see. A little jumpy there. Okay. And then we'll grab a couple other colors just to test. I assume most of the colors are going to be relatively the same. You know what they say about assumptions. So a little more twitchy over. And this is, to be fair, this is also a rougher side. So I'm sure that the rougher paper has something to do with it as well. Oh, so you can see what I was talking about here where I've got this kicked sideways. So it's, like I said, I don't like the way these pins fit into the caps. They do bother me. Let's see. Let's use, this is the emerald color. So I just want to do a little comparison here. So it does actually feel different going down over the watercolor versus the straight. It feels really gritty for some reason. Okay. But it does feel a little different coming down over the watercolor. But I will say that that watercolor feels kind of gritty. Guess I'm not used to going through and touching stuff after the fact. And this is over the top of the mica paint, which is actually a lot smoother, and you can see it lays down better over the smoother stuff. So the texture of your paper or whatever you're using is definitely gonna, and see that Blueberry Mountain's a lot smoother. That sky's pretty smooth. This turtle belly's smooth. This one's not too bad. That one's a little more textured. So is that one. Pine's pretty smooth. All of these are pretty smooth. And then that one's a little more textured. So definitely the tooth on the paper is going to affect what we got here. Let's see. This is the apricot. And let's see. It kind of shows up on that. Alright. Just kind of trying to see what some of these will show up against. So these are, oh, that really pops on that one. These are pretty nice on smoother stuff, but definitely you're going to have a little more issue if it's textured. Let me grab this yellow because I think this is the closest that we've got to a gold. And I know a lot of you like to use gold. This is over something kind of textured. This Blueberry Mountain is a lot smoother and it lays down nicely over the smooth stuff. So I feel like when it's on top of something, it reads a lot more gold. Maybe I'm crazy, I don't know. But I do feel like it shows off a little more gold that way. Just curious. Let me grab, if I can find it. So this is one of the Singo pens. Let's see. That lays down a little smoother and a little more what I would consider gold. It's also not glittery, it's just metallic, and that may have something to do with it too. Yeah, just a comparison. Let's see, let's grab a blue to test, and then we will be done, I think. There we go. coming back over that rough stuff is harder for this one for sure. So I don't ever get rid of these swatch sheets. I use them all the time for stuff like this, or for use them as covers for little travel journals that I make or whatever. So they come in handy. Like I said, I don't typically get rid of them. Hey, looky there, dog hair. Shocker. All right, now let's try these white gel pens, and then we will go from there. So I did a little bit down here on this spring green color. It's not too gritty, but it is a little gritty. So let's see. This pine's pretty smooth. This is the 0.6. And then let's try over here. So on the smooth ones, it actually does okay. And then let's see, it's not going to show up at this point. Over here on these more gritty colors, I mean, it does eventually step up, but it does have a lot harder time with that. Alrighty, let's grab the 8. So this is 0.8, 0.8, and over that gritty one, it doesn't kind of carry in that gritty texture. It looks better over the watercolor than it does on that black paper, which I'm not super shocked. So, all right, and this is the 1.0. So I hate it when they leave that line down the middle. That drives me nuts, actually. So on the smooth, this 1 millimeter, I think it's millimeters, right? Millimeter tip does pretty good. Over the smoother stuff, the other tips write pretty good. Over the gritty stuff, that's kind of where you end up with issues. Which is fair, I guess, because it's probably picking up some of that stuff. Yeah. Will it show up over here? Here we go. I'm going to try. And this is over the mica paint from Beam. So it went on a whole lot smoother. But I got this set, like I said, it came with 9. It came with 3 each. And it wasn't super expensive. And overall, I think it's a decent buy. So far, these seem to have done better than most of the others I have. So, Jelly Roll, I mean, you can see next to the Jelly Roll that these are not, they show up a little better in my opinion. The ink is a lot more opaque on those. And then let me see, where is my Cinco one? It's over here somewhere. I thought it was. Oh, there it is. So I feel like the Cinco is pretty much on par with the Jelly Roll. I know everybody has their favorites. Like I said, I have so many issues with these white pens. So I'm curious to see how well these will hold up in the end. Because I feel like maybe they're fine on regular stuff, but going over the top of watercolor, it ends up never being great. And I even have some of these like fine point acrylic markers, and I have a lot of issues with them too. They just don't necessarily hold, and you're constantly having to sort of pump them to keep them. And then even then, like you saw there, it doesn't, they just don't prime very well. I don't know. I'm not a huge fan. I got a couple different kinds on these, and they're all the same. I even have the Posca ones, and I'm really, really, really not impressed with those for all of the, I guess, press that those Poscas get. Oh, God, this one even looks like it's just clumped up and dried. These are the Artistro markers. So, again, I guess I'm just not super impressed on these. But I don't know. It's been super hard, in my opinion, to find ones that work. Let's see if we turn that nib around, how it'll go. Whew, it's a much more pliable nib. So, I mean, there's clearly ink in it, but good luck getting it out. I don't know. Again, I am not at all impressed with these. And hence my quest on finding a good white pen that you can use over everything. I'm probably going to end up throwing that one away. But anyway, so those are like I said, I think it's Buutiiger. That's my guess. White gel pens. They do come in a pack of, well, they probably come in multiple packs. The pack I got had the 3 different sizes in them, and they were 3 of each of those. And then I didn't put those back in very well. The Grabie Jumbo Iridescent Glitter Gel Ink Pens. Wow, is that a mouthful? These are 1mm tips. So if anybody is wondering. But anyway, hopefully you found some of that useful. Yay, I did fill up my Graham palette. I will let you know how it goes in that plastic palette that I've got. And once I get some real good use out of it. And anyway, hope you guys have a good day. Go out there, go paint something, or go draw something. And I'll see you guys next time.